I'm Victoria Cooksey. Today we're going to be making meringues with single origin cocoa powder and cocoa nibs. Now there's French meringue and Italian meringue, but our base is going to be Swiss meringue, so you're going to have that technique in your repertoire as well. So join me. I'm going to finish my coffee, run home, make this recipe, and hope the winter storm watch doesn't knock out the power. Keep on watching. Before we make our meringues, let's talk whisks. Normally you would use a balloon whisk for putting more air into a meringue, plus a nice handle to hold on to. However, I know you might not have that, and I want you to be able to make this recipe, so we're going to actually use a regular whisk, so you know you can do this one. Preheat your oven to 200 degrees, and in the meantime, over a pan of simmering water, put your mixing bowl from your electric mixer. In here, I have 4 egg whites and a half cup of regular sugar, and I'm going to be whisking this the whole time over the simmering water. It can take 6 to 10 minutes depending. I want you to just notice the texture of how it looks now as we start. If you go up on the side, you see the graininess of the sugar, so these are things to keep in mind as we continue to heat this, and after a couple minutes I'm going to show you how it's looking so you kind of know what to expect. So just start whisking away. This is how it looks after about 3 minutes of heating and whisking. You can see it's more foamy, but if I really stir, I can still see a bit of a separation in there. So we still have a few more minutes to go, but I wanted to let you kind of see how this progresses. So if I pause for a second, you can really see this foam is really tightened up, very tiny bubbles. I also know it's about done because I can start to smell a bit of the sweetness of the sugar, which I couldn't before. I could tell by the size of the foam. When I put it up the side too, it's a smoother foam. If I touch it, okay, it's not cold, it's not warm, but it's not too hot, I can touch it. So that's what you're looking for, and this kind of smooth foaminess between your fingers. Maybe not the most glorious thing to look at, but it gives you the lovely signs that it's ready to go. Okay, now I'm going to take this off. I'm just giving you that visual again. This is ready. It took about 10 minutes. I'm going to take it off, put this on the mixer. Got this on my electric mixer now with the large whisk attachment. I'm going to put it on about medium speed. And this again is going to take about 6 to 10 minutes. So we're going to keep our eye on it. It's going to be higher in volume. It's going to be looking almost marshmallowy, getting close to not quite a stiff meringue, but kind of heading that way. So I'll show you when it's done. Here's what it looks like after it's been whipped to give you an idea of the texture you're going for. There's a lot of different options of ingredients to use in this. You can use whatever cocoa powder you have at home and like, but I do recommend single origin cocoa powder, and really also seeking out craft chocolate makers that make their own, because you're going to be able to really have all these different flavors and deeper flavors, and it's just so enjoyable, and you can kind of make the final product more your own because of which origin you pick out. Now I have made these several times with Map Chocolate's Fiji cocoa powder, and I find it's really tasty, but they come out slightly lighter color. I've also made it with Marou's cacao powder, and you'll notice some places will call it cocoa powder, some will call it cacao powder, but you're going to be using them the same way. Marou's makes it a little bit more chocolatey looking, and I'm going to be using that one today. And I have some Askinosie Tanzania cocoa nibs, so those are the ones I'm going to be putting in my meringues today. So lots of options out there, and this gives you a few ideas of ones you can use. You're going to hear a little Louie walking around the background potentially, and I think he's eating something, so if you hear little noises, it's the dog. In this, I have a half cup of powdered sugar. Now with meringues, you don't want to be afraid of sugar, especially powdered sugar, because that's what helps really add that good crisp texture to the meringue. If you don't have enough sugar, you're not going to have a crisp meringue. Then I have a 1/4 cup of our single origin cacao powder, and this time I went with Marou. And I'm just going to sift that in until it's all the way in. You're going to start folding this in, and the first few passes especially are to think, oh my gosh, this isn't going to mix together. But it will. Just keep at it, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Now I've got those ingredients incorporated, and I'm going to put in a 1/4 cup of cocoa nibs, using Askinosie cocoa nibs this time. And again, just fold that in, just nice and gentle though. Now you're going to put the meringue in a piping bag, and whichever tip you end up using, like this one's a large open star tip, you want to make sure it's a tip that's big enough to let the cocoa nibs come through. That's very important. Now you can pipe these out in any way you want. You can kind of hold it up a little and do almost like a little star. You can do kind of a flat circle. You could come up and bring it up a little higher. You could even kind of do some little squiggly sets, because you could take these and kind of like make them like little sandwich cookies with, oh, you know, maybe your favorite single origin nut butter. Like, you know, there's all kinds of good ones out there. Or you could put ice cream between them. I'm going to go ahead and finish piping these. Now that these meringues are all piped out, I'm going to put them in that 200-degree oven for 40 minutes. And then after 40 minutes, shut the oven off, but leave them in for an additional 90 minutes to cool down and dry out and get that good texture. Here's our finished meringue after those 40 minutes baking in the oven. Then we shut the oven off for 90 minutes. That's to let them cool down slowly so they dry out and get a good crisp texture. Now, if you don't have a piping bag or tip, you can certainly use a Ziploc bag, cut the end off. They're going to have a smoother look like this one. What can you do with these? Eat them as is. And with a cup of coffee, have them with some drinking chocolate. Make ice cream sandwiches out of them. Put them over ice cream. Put them over oatmeal or yogurt. I like meringues over a little bit of raspberry sorbet sometimes. You can also make little cookie sandwiches out of them. Here I took a Hogarth hazelnut spread. Put that between those. Here's Soma Chocolate Maker's pistachio spread. Ritual Chocolate makes a chocolate almond spread for these kind of bigger ones I piped out. Sky's the limit. So I hope you make these and tell me in comments below what you like to do with meringues and what you thought of these and which cocoa powder or which cocoa nibs you ended up using. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit like to my videos, share the videos, watch the videos. Check out my blog, Dark Matters Chocolate Reviews, where I do interviews and craft chocolate reviews. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Sometimes I do articles for Chocolate Connoisseur magazine, so I hope you will look at all those up. And until then, go make some meringues. Yum, yum.